Hi, this is Tom from tdjacobs.com. I wanted to do a video announcement to share with you that I've launched a new MP3 course called the Chakra Course. I want to kind of explain its genesis as well as why it matters. Since I started seeing clients in 2004, I started as an evolutionary astrologer, looking at the multi-life journey and helping people understand what choices they can make and what their presuppositions are, and the karma, the belief, the blah, blah, blah. You know, how to overcome patterns and make better choices and overcome limiting belief structures. And then within a couple of years, I started working with spirit guides, so that added to the story. And spirit guides have everything in their hearts. They want you to evolve, and so they kind of nudge you toward making better decisions. And then started doing mediumship, learning about life and death and soul, then channeling, kind of adding to the story, and then starting to do energy work. And then the advent of the crystals or stones that I work with. I energetically program stones to help you change patterns, release the past, evolve. So in the middle of all that, I was teaching a course for 6 years called Intuitive Skills Development Level 1. And the idea was to take you on a tour of your chakras, to give you a bunch of, as many as I could, perspectives on what's happening in your life and why and how to change it. So this is taking the wisdom and info from spirit guides from the Ascended Master Eye channel, what I've learned about life and death and karma and emotion, and all these different perspectives to try to help you grow, change, and evolve. Become a better version of yourself, a more kind, a more loving, more generous version of yourself to yourself, so you can do what your soul came here to do, which is to learn to embody love and overcome the accumulated history of this multi-life journey of fear, doubt, pain, regret, shame, etc. So toward the end of teaching that course, maybe the last year and a half, I've been really clear that the lower 3 chakras require more time. So in the last few sections, I've extended how much time we spend on the root. And I said, yeah, that makes sense. We spend more time on the root. So it's like basically 2 weeks on the root and then 1 week on each of the other 7 chakras. It ends up making an 8-week course. And in the last couple of rounds of this teaching, I just saw how I couldn't get some people to grow beyond that root chakra or those lower 3 chakra, that pain and stuff. And you can't force anything. And you can't, there's no judgment or anything, but I was just trying to come at it from a bunch of different angles. And I said to the students, it may be that, at any time during the course, something from the lower chakras may still come up because these things are foundational. The root chakra, the first, is the foundation of your life. And so by the end of the last course I taught, the last one of these, I said, I have to figure out a different way to do this, because as it is, I'm working really hard to kind of to walk a handful, 4 to 6 people through this process, several times a year. And it's not having the effects that I want. So previously in those 6 years, I was trying to teach it better. That's not the answer. The answer is to emphasize the lower 3 chakras and to give you tools to work with on your own, because I don't know if it's going to take you 2 weeks. It's not. It's going to take longer. I don't know if it's going to take you 6 months or 4 months or whatever. But to do all of the chakras at once is a grand idea, but it's not as effective as this new model is going to be. So the Chakra Course Part 1 it has a brief intro, and then it covers each of the 3 lower chakras. The intention is that you work on these areas of life, which I'm going to explain in a moment, and you really take responsibility for the fear and the pain or the regret or whatever it is that's stored there, the fear that you're not supported or you're not lovable, that you really work on that and you get to the place where you can transform your relationship with fear, pain, regret, anger, etc., that you can decide on a daily basis that you are stronger than those things. They're parts of you. They're not who you are. So you work through this at home using the Chakra Course Part 1. I do recommend, let me see if I have one here. Do I have it here? Well, I have a slab, an unpolished slab of tiger iron, but I recommend getting tiger iron because that draws energy into those lower three chakras very specifically, and that opens things up and gives a boost of confidence and healing energy into those lower three chakras. So whatever's out of balance, and again, I'll explain them in a minute, but I recommend that. I highly recommend the grounding meditation that's free from my homepage, the 13-minute grounding MP3 that a lot of people have taken advantage of over the years. And you can, as far as crystals go, you can add on, red jasper specifically for intense second chakra issues, or I don't have any up here, onyx, for unearthing deep trauma and enabling deep empowerment. But and I recommend reading Carolyn Mace's Anatomy of the Spirit, which is the text I used for this course every time I taught it. But anyway, the basic thing is these 4 MP3s, the intro plus the 3, individual chakra MP3s. So just to give you an overview, the root chakra, which is the first, and it's located around the anus, and it applies to that part of the body down, so feet up to there. And it's about home, family, the space you were born into. So there's a climate and weather that was going on in your family system into which you emerged. You were born, or when you were brought home or fostered or adopted. There's something happening that imprinted you. This is who we are. This is who you're supposed to be. This is the religion we have. These are our politics. This is what we think about money. This is what we think about poor people and rich people. This is what we think about education. All the things, it's already in the air. You absorb it energetically. And when we've experienced really difficult things in family and home, we have to grow into recognizing that these other souls are in conspiracy of love with our souls. So all of that is actually chosen by soul to give us an idea of one way to be a person. Also in the root chakra, extending from that, is how safe and supported we feel, how comfortable we are in a body or being on earth, being in 3D. And it's our ability to support ourselves, to stand up and run our lives. And it's a huge part of our source of energy. Our vitality is from this root. Also, nation, clan, religious group, when the group expects us to be a certain way, or the group requires a certain kind of participation or sacrifice, that's all root chakra stuff. Patriotism is a root chakra thing. Allegiance to a religion, or allegiance to a family that adheres to a religion, all those kinds of things. Moving on to the second chakra, above that, associated with the reproductive organs and the kidneys and other things down there. This is about give and take, harmony, balance, relationship, defining the self in terms of how others see us. And a crucial part of the second chakra is being willing to see how others see us so we can learn more about ourselves, but take it as a reflection and not take it as truth. So in the second chakra, we have to be willing to receive reflection as well as give it. So participate in relationship. For me to show you who I am, for you to show me who you are. That's the second chakra. And it is about money, creativity, sexuality. Third chakra, up in the solar plexus, is about self-esteem. Guilt, shame, regret, and all self-image, positive or negative, live here. And so how we make choices, what motivates us, essentially the third chakra contains a battery, and that powers the rest of our life. And the battery is self-image. So we look at our choices past and present and judge ourselves. So these 3 chakras, and the third is the seat of personal power, where we can develop self-respect and self-confidence through making choices that build those things. So those 3 chakras together are the foundation of your entire life and consciousness and anything that you're able to do or get done in this life. So as I work with people in this, 8 or 10 week class, it's different incarnations, their stuff in the lower 3 chakras will get stirred up. If they have self-doubt or guilt, if they resent a family member, if they've been abused, if they were abandoned or even adopted, anything can come up in those lower 3 chakras, or this particularly bad relationship breakup, or this relationship was really hard, or I had to give up a lot, anything like that, or I don't have a relationship and I'm lonely and I think that means something about me. All of these things are in the foundation of your life. So the lower 3 chakras, as you've heard me harp on in videos about tiger iron, videos and MP3s, about the tiger iron, this banded combination of those three different stones for the lower three chakras. The lower three chakras must be in place for us to be sane, healthy, productive, anything positive. So I want to read a bit of an email from a student of mine who just got this first part of the MP3 course, and she wrote me to ask, since I did take the intuitive skills development course, I'm wondering, would this be useful for me? And she wrote, what I'm becoming clearer and clearer on is how non-negotiable and critical this lower chakra piece is to the frequency I know I'm here to hold. So after going through the class and having our own lower three chakra things come up during the class several times, and that's one of the contexts in which I said, it's okay if one issue keeps coming up for you, because that's normal. But what I realize is we cannot do good work in the fourth up if the lower three are not in place, which is why I harp so much about Tiger Iron, about people getting the program Tiger Iron from me. So after going through this whole process and working up through the chakras and telling the story and learning all about this, she sees, I have to go back to these lower three. And that is absolutely normal. We have to spend much more time on the lower three chakras. Now, these are things that for spiritual seekers will seem boring. Oh my God, yeah, paying my bills. Dealing with this, dealing with that, appointments, time, logistics, balancing my checkbook, whatever. I know it's 2016. I don't think people do that much anymore. But, it's not spiritually sexy. We're told that intuition, we're supposed to be heart open. We're supposed to open our intuition, and be intuitive or psychic. We're supposed to surrender to a higher power, whatever. We're supposed to connect with spirits and talk to aliens and whatever. The lower three chakras have to be in place so that the upper four can open. So this chakra course is for you to work on at home to confront whatever lower chakra, those lower three chakras, whatever issues that you need to resolve. I may or may not teach this course again, because the most important part is not me walking you through a process that actually can't get a foothold if your lower three chakras aren't in place. The most important thing is that you confront those lower three chakra fears and doubts, regrets, and pains. That's the most important thing. And what I'm really clear about is you don't need me to hold your hand through a process. You need to choose to become empowered. You need to decide that you're strong enough to overcome and alter your relationship with fear, pain, regret, guilt, shame, whatever it is. So for me, developing this course is empowering for me, because I no longer am going to try to lead you through the process. It's up to you and how open and how ready you are. You might not be ready to forgive that parent or grandparent or sibling. You might not be ready to give up your thing about your state government. Or I'm just thinking about just random examples that have come up in class, like how a person feels about living in the state he or she feels in, like in the statutes that are in place. You might not, feel good about the religion you were raised in. I don't want to push you into the upper chakras until you're ready to walk there. I don't ever want to push you. So the development of this course is to make these teachings that I've channeled and lived and accumulated over the last 13 years, since I kind of dove into my own intuitive living experiment in 2003, to make these available to you. So I'm not trying to drag you in one direction or another. Take as much time as you need. I've actually recorded all 7 chakras in I think 5 or 6 days. I think one day I did 3 of them. I did 4, 5, and 6 together one day, and I was really surprised that it happened that way. But I broke them up into the first 3, and then later in the year, or when it feels right, it could be early next year, but I want to give you plenty of time to work on the lower 3 chakras. I want these, your willingness to be in your body, your willingness to be grounded, your willingness to look at what has been painful and decide you're stronger than this. I want that to be in place, because that is the critical factor. It's not what I can tell you in a class on the phone. So for me, this is empowering, because I'm saying to you, the success of the course and your experience in the course is not about what I'm doing. So this is a kind of a nudge up or an up leveling to teach you, you must decide that you can do this, that you can overcome this. And I'll give you all the tools that I possibly can. And a great deal of them are in this hour long. Well, each one's about an hour long. I think the root chakra is about 75 minutes. I will say one thing. You know, I'm a medium in a channel, and you know that I talk to discarnate or, disembodied beings. And a lot of times people come to me because they want that level of connection with what feels true. All the time I work with clients with strong 12th house or Neptunian, Piscean signatures who say, I've talked to a lot of astrologers, or I read a lot of blogs, or I take a lot of astrology classes, but your stuff really speaks to me. And I say to them, it's because I do what I can to get into a Neptunian space and surrender to be a vessel of the best truth that I can muster up or find or bring through. And that's actually what I use sea jasper for. You saw a flash of it earlier. Is kind of a Neptunian connection. And so how can I be of service, right? And sometimes it is just explaining an astrology chart. And sometimes it is connecting multidimensionally with a person and doing energy work, another Neptunian thing. And sometimes it is bringing through a truth or channeling, or as best I can, distilling something. When you take an intuitive skills course, you learn something about being psychic or a medium or intuitive, you think energy needs to go up because, of course, that's where this stuff happens, in the upper chakras. But if that lower 3 chakra foundation is not in place, you're clueless, you're ungrounded, you might be a flake. You might be confused. You don't know what to do with the information that comes through. So courageously going into the lower 3 chakras is the place to start if you want to be more intuitive. For a few years, I thought maybe I shouldn't call this intuitive skills development. I mean, the rationale is when you alter your relationship with fear, pain, guilt, regret, shame, then you start vibrating in a more loving way, and you consciously choose to be more loving in different ways. And I've taught that in different ways, self-care and just, getting over the guilt and shame, etc. Then you can vibrate on loving frequencies, which is how these other beings, your own spirit guides and angels, masters, whatever, all those beings come through, is on loving frequencies. They cannot find you while they find you. They cannot get through to you. You cannot realize they're there if you are vibrating fear, pain, frustration, or anger. Predominantly. Like, we all have things come up, So to teach people to be intuitive, it's to teach you to look at your fears, your doubts, your shame, your pain. So this course was actually kind of like a deep end life skills reorientation or something like that. But I wanted people to understand that what it means to be intuitive is to progressively align yourself with more loving frequencies to let your natural intuition unfold, unopen. One of the keys here, and this is what the tiger iron does, is that it by drawing energy into the lower 3 chakras, then you're safe. You can say yes and no when appropriate. Boundaries. So, and that you can make self-respecting choices and that you alone define who you are, chakras 1, 2, and 3 respectively. When that's in place, your linear logical mind in the 6th chakra naturally releases some of its tension and its hold, and that intuitive stuff can open. That's one of the keys to a tiger iron. I use tiger iron. People who channel would not expect me to say this, and I get a lot of kind of like tilted dog head looks when I say this. I started channeling using tiger iron. People say that doesn't make sense. It's not high vibrating. It doesn't connect you to anything, but it draws energy into the lower 3 chakras so you confront what blocks you from naturally being intuitive, from naturally letting that 6th chakra unfold in that natural way that opens up. So this chakra course, I strongly encourage you to get it, work with it on your own, get a tiger iron to help the process, get the meditation from my website, the 13-minute free thing, and decide that you're stronger than fear and pain. And the last thing I'll say about this is, in that class, this idea of not wanting to drag people, I, as the teacher, as the practitioner that I am, as a teacher in that course, I can see the empowered version of the student. But it doesn't matter if I see that. in a Piscean age model, which we're growing out of, the idea that we need hierarchies and we need people who are stronger than us to tell us what to do, it makes sense for me to say, oh, I can see beyond your fear, dear student. Like, somebody, I get affection from most of my students because, like, I see the divine in them, and I say, I want you to be happier and healthier. So I give them that context of that confidence and that boost of self-esteem, right? Because I'm recognizing you're more than that fear. But it doesn't matter what I see. It only matters what you see. So this is an Aquarian Age boost. Doing this course this way, it's empowering for me also because it's an Aquarian Age boost. Putting the tools in your hand, you alone can decide if you're stronger than fear and pain. And I feel like, and I thought about it before I recorded them, I felt amazing. I felt amazing about it because I felt like there was an opening, and I thought, well, maybe it's because I'm just tired of teaching it. And it's not that. It's that teaching it isn't as effective as a person becoming willing to go through the experience herself, which I had to do. I went through my own kind of experience. So just to give you kind of wrap up that idea of like the upper chakras versus the lower, part 2, which will be available later, is all channeled. Now, part 1 is me with Jehudi right in the back. It may sound a little channeled, and it is half channeled, so to speak, but the upper 4 chakra section is completely channeled. And I was confused about that because it just happened naturally. And then when I was talking to Jehudi about it, the Ascended Master I work with, also known as Thoth, Saint Germain, and Merlin, he said, the work is in the lower 3 chakras. When that foundation is in place, then give them some great vibratory thing that they can drink in. But don't give them some channeled thing that their upper chakras are going to cling to without doing the work in the lower chakras. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to be in those lower 3 chakras. So I think this video is long enough. Thank you for your time and energy. Go to tdjacobs.com to check out the Chakra Course. I'll have a link to the specific page in the comments, or not the comments, the description of the video. And let me know if I can be of service to you. My job, my self-appointed job, is to do what I can to help you decide that you're stronger than pain and fear and start taking care of yourself in a different way. Bye-bye.